Okay guys, I've decided to make another video. This one's going to be on my steering setup. There's a couple guys that are asking about how to do power steering. Since mine's a Napco and I have a particular, well, I'll show you what I wanted to do with my Napco is not alter any of the historic parts of the Napco. And one of those parts is the drag link right here. And as you see, it's got the old-fashioned style ball joint that's adjustable on the rear part of it. And I don't think you can tell, but it's welded together. And then it's just a standard ball joint on this side. And that's a Napco piece that connects up originally the stock steering to the Napco front end. What I've done, because I'm running 38-inch tall tires, is you can't really see it. I'm going to have to get some more light. I'll be back. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, what I've done is I've got that stock or that Napco drag link, and what I've done is I've adapted it with a stock pitman arm and a Toyota out of a Toyota four-wheel drive straight axle truck, not an independent front suspension. The independent front suspensions have a different configuration power steering gearbox than this one. If you're going to do a swap like this or similar to this, you need a Toyota power steering gearbox out of a straight axle four-wheel drive truck. So basically what I've done is I've taken the Toyota gearbox and I went through the frame and I fabricated up this bracket. And if you can see, I've got four the four bolts attach it from right here. That's where this is part of the gearbox right here, and it goes through the frame. And so it attaches to this bracket that I've made. And what I've done is I've cut a hole in the frame right here, but I've boxed the entire, I made this box assembly, and I've actually boxed it. So it has a section that comes past the frame, and it boxes this entire area also. So it's super strong. And then also I've taken it and I've boxed it in on the frame also. And I've got 2 bolts here, 2 bolts in the rear, and underneath also. So it's tied into the frame really well. Then on the back side of the frame, the whole length of the frame, I've got 1/4-inch plate boxing. So it's super strong. I've over-engineered it. And anyway, so I've used a stock pitman arm. I reversed it, and I had to redo the splines on it. And so that's why I did it that way, so I could use this historic Napco drag link and not have to alter it at all. Okay, so this is what it looks like up on top. Okay, I used an I Did It steering column with no shift on it. It's just a tilt column. And then I got a couple of U-joints, a couple Flaming River U-joints and a piece of double D shaft. And it goes right into the top of the power steering gearbox. And then I had a couple of hoses made up from a local hydraulic place. And then it just goes down into a standard Chevy pump. Kind of hard to see because it's not lit very well, but I got a chrome Chevy, just a standard Chevy pump. And take you into the cab here. So I've got my I Did It steering column. I made that little floor plate also, just to cover the hole. So it's just a standard I Did It steering column that tilts. And then I put a 55 Chevy pickup wheel on it, because the 55 it actually fits the column, so that's why it has a 55. And as I've stated, my truck is kind of a Frankenstein. So I just did things that looked right, that, made it look like it was supposed to be there, but it's, not true to correct. So anyway, for you guys that have two-wheel drives, a better option than this, because this took a lot of fabrication and engineering. And I know there is a kit out there that uses the Toyota power steering gearbox that you can get also. The bracket that it uses, I think you put this Toyota gearbox on top of the frame, and it looks a little flimsy. The better option, I think, is to use a Saginaw power steering gearbox that comes off of most big trucks, Chevys, Fords, Dodges. And what you do is you mount it up here, right in this area where the front shock is. And what you have to do is you have to remove this shock tower and just move it back to the back, right about where my steering is. And then you just remount the shock tower back here so the shock is in this direction. Then with the Saginaw gearbox, you mount it right in this area, and then you have a flaming ribber or a double D shaft and a couple of U-joints, and it brings the steering shaft right down into the gearbox in this direction. Then you have your arm, your pitman arm, that points straight down, and it pivots this way, I believe. And then the kit comes with a drag link that goes aft instead of forward like this one does. So it would just come aft and connect right onto your steering knuckle, right in this position right here. So it's a fairly straightforward kit. And another thing that I wanted to mention about the kit, when you do it, what you do is you use your stock steering column. And as you guys know, the stock steering column comes directly connected to the manual gearbox. It's all one assembly. Well, basically what you do is you hacksaw off the bottom part of the column, the outer tube of the column. You use all your original stuff inside the cab, and your original steering shaft, your original steering column tube. You run it through the bottom of the cab, basically like this I Did It is. I don't know, it doesn't show up very well. But the kit comes with a bearing, and what you do is you hacksaw the tube off, so you have, and the shaft is longer, and then you slide this bearing in place in the bottom of the tube so it supports the bottom of the shaft exactly like I have it here with this I Did It column. And then you just put the U-joint on the I Did It, or on the original shaft, and you go forward with the double D shaft way forward, not like I've got it, but it goes way forward, and then you'll go through your inner fender well, and it'll come out on this side right about where that shock mount is. So it's a fairly simple procedure to do it. You do have to move this shock tower, and you do have to drill a few holes. I don't believe there's any welding involved. And then you also have to hacksaw your steering column off. And but anyway, that's how I accomplished it on mine. And it took a lot of work and a lot of engineering, but hopefully it'll be good.